Happy holidays from Bloodbath TV, and I gotta tell you, you don't want to be on this guy's naughty list, because today we checked out Violent Night.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
This movie kind of came out of nowhere. They dropped the bomb that David Harbour is going to be a killer Saint Nick, and then the movie came out within like a month. For this video, we're just gonna talk about it, give our thoughts, give our final ratings. We will probably touch on some spoilery aspects, but we both enjoyed it, and you should go watch it in theaters. There's not a lot to spoil though, to be honest, because if you know the concept of the movie, that's the biggest spoiler. You know he's a killer Santa Claus.
This film takes place at a family's mansion. There's a heist about to happen, but jolly old Saint Nick is going down the chimney, so the whole film is just basically him stopping robbers.
Hold on, I'd like to backtrack here because he's not jolly. He's a fucking drunk, and it's the best. He's exactly, if I were to take on the role of Santa Claus, it's exactly what would happen. Just like kick around, drink some brandy, eat cookies, and hang out in like a massage chair. Like, he just dicks around. He's been Santa for so long, and he's just tired of it. He thinks kids are just greedy and all they want is video games and cash, and he's sick of the whole deal. And it looks like he hates it too.
Yeah, so he's like going on saying like this is his last Christmas ever. Like, he's done with people, he's done with children, but thankfully, Trudy, our little girl, still believes. And she's the one who like raises his spirits throughout this film. He basically is doing this to save her.
And her parents are split up, and all she wants are them to get back together. I gotta say, Trudy was probably one of the biggest highlights of this movie. Aside from David Harbour, she was just like the cutest little girl, and you gave a shit about her. You wanted her parents to get back together because of how cute she was. And I think that's what Santa, he's like, oh, come on. She calls him on the little walkie-talkie. She's like, I can't just leave. Also, the reindeer left, so I really can't leave.
So basically, the film just jumps right in. So there wasn't like anything where it's like, okay, we're gonna have like the family issues, we're gonna have family Christmas. It's literally, they get to the house, and within a couple hours, John Leguizamo, who did a fantastic job as Mr. Scrooge, him and his party come in and just lock this down. And the violence happens right away. This film just takes off because like the very first fight scene, you see Santa fighting someone, but you could tell there's resistance. Like, he's more self-defending versus like, I'm going to like take these bad guys down. So there is like a good character development of like showing the drunk to the hero.
And then it has some flashbacks of him back in the day before he was Santa Claus. He was just a badass barbarian who just pillaged villages and smashed people with Skull Crusher, his trusty sledgehammer.
I want an origin story. That's what they need to do. Forget a sequel, give us the origin story.
Yeah, that would be awesome because the fight scenes in this, especially when he gets his sledgehammer, just are so good.
Time for some season's beatings.
He basically just brutalizes everybody, crushes skulls, heads are popping. He even like puts skates on his hands and starts slicing people's arms off, and he cuts a guy's head. It's almost like the My Bloody Valentine thing where the shovel goes in the head and then the body falls. This was like a skate though. There's a lot of cool kills.
But it still managed to capture the holiday spirit. Like, I would totally want to watch this every Christmas as like a Christmas classic. You had that fun contrast with like the Christmas spirit, yet the very dark humor that's happening as well.
And they utilized Christmas in nearly everything they said. Like, all of their names were like peppermint and candy cane.
But my personal favorite was Krampus. He was the wild card, and it bugged me through this entire film because I'm like, who is this actor? Why do I know him? And it's Brendan Fletcher, who is someone we're both very familiar with, who is in like all the like horror films and other ones, but like we see him all the time. A good old local Canuck.
And I like Gertrude, who's like the mother of the house. She's played by Beverly D'Angelo, and I was trying to figure out who she was the whole time, and I just watched her in Vacation the other day, National Lampoon's Vacation. She plays Ellen Griswold in like that series, which is so cool. She's a mega bitch, and she was hilarious. I think the comedy in this movie in general across the board, there are so many lines that you're just like, oh my god, I can't believe they just said that. Especially we had kids in our row. There's a little birthday party at the end for like like an 8-year-old, and they're all like watching this. The amount of swearing, the blood, like there's just so much stuff. And they say like, oh, and Santa's not real. And they like describe why Santa's not real and what parents say to their kids. And I'm just like, oh shit, I hope they're not listening to this.
And I will say, when we're talking about like the children actors in this, I kind of liked Bert's character in the sense that everyone called him out. I think that was hilarious to me. And he's just
Can we address him as Bertrude?
Bertrude, yes.
Because they're competing for the money of the household, so they name their kids Gertrude and Bertrude because he was a boy.
Yeah. Which was hilarious. So like Krampus is sitting there and he punches him, and it's one of those things where you're like, man, sometimes you want to punch those kids. And he did.
It was good. There was a lot of like laugh out loud moments, and thankfully the theater that we were in, like people were laughing as well. I think probably one of my favorite moments was when Santa Claus, he sticks a grenade in this guy's like back, and he's like walking away, so you know there's gonna be an explosion in the background. He's like, hold on, I gotta see this. And he turns around to watch him explode, and that's when we get like a holy shit. So they worked in like the ho 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 into like a lot of moments where he doesn't necessarily say it himself, but it's like him chuckling over something, and I thought that was a nice touch.
In this kind of film, you don't want to see him like ho ho ho.
That's what we've stereotypically made him, like what you're dressed as.
Yeah. You mean Santa with muscles? We will say this because it is 100% worth the watch. Home Alone part is probably the best part of the whole film. We don't want to say anything about it other than they reference Home Alone, and it's brilliant. When we looked at all our robbers or our heistmen, like all the bad guys, I did like that they played with the idea of them teetering towards believing and not believing, even to the point to the very end with John Leguizamo not knowing what to actually believe, and they had fun with it. And I thought that the showdown between Santa and John Leguizamo, it was perfect. They had a fantastic backstory with why John Leguizamo hated Christmas, and they played with it, and it was just brilliant.
And it's worth mentioning, you get an amazing kill that will never be replicated again in this movie. And I won't tell you which one, but if you know, you know. Overall, this was an excellent movie. I would highly recommend it because David Harbour just kills it as Santa Claus, and his story and character arc are just great. The fact that he like was falling out of love with Christmas and then really wanted to do this for Trudy was amazing. Their little back and forth, it gets a little emotional. It is a little bit slower, it slows down the pace of the movie, but that specific moment is what makes him want to fight and fight harder. And the chaos that follows is excellent. Everybody did an amazing job, the humor's there, and it's just fun. But they did get one thing wrong. Christmas does not die tonight. People die. A lot of people die, but not Christmas. It's forever. So I'm gonna give this 4.5 reindeer shits out of 5.
Which one of you did that?
After seeing this trailer, I was hyped for this film. I was hoping for just a Christmas-themed bloodbath, and I thought this film delivered. It had the right amount of Christmas, it had the right amount of violence. It makes me want more. That's what's important about this. Like, I would be okay if there was a couple sequels, a prequel, doesn't matter. It was just such a fun time. The humor was great, the violence was great, and I would highly recommend. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 5 sharpened candy canes out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, go to the theaters and watch it. That way we get more movies like this. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with everything we're doing here on Bloodbath TV.
Mr.
Claus. But please call me Santa.